When we ask teachers what their attitude is towards using the L1 in an English language classroom, something like 60% say that they believe that the English classes should be conducted in English only and that the L1 should be banned. When we actually look at what teachers do in their classrooms, a rather different picture emerges. Although teachers say that they think the L1 should be banned, most teachers use it quite a bit, and the average figure is something between 20 and 40% of classroom teacher talking time is in the L1. So we have an interesting conflict anyway between teachers' attitudes, as they're expressed in surveys, and what they actually do in the classroom. And this seems to lead to a sense of guilt on the part of many teachers. They feel that the class should be in English only for practical reasons. Often it's practical reasons. They feel that they need to use the L1, and this leads to a sense of guilt. They shouldn't be doing what they're actually doing, even though they feel it makes sense at the time. Guilt, of course, is not a very healthy approach to understanding and improving one's classroom practice. Teachers use L1 much more often with lower level classes, and this is for fairly obvious reasons. The students don't necessarily have the English language resources to understand everything that the teacher wants to say. And some use of L1 by the teacher should, in principle at any rate, help reassure some of those students about what it is they're studying and what it is they need to do. L1 is also more commonly used in large classrooms, especially, of course, with the lower levels. With younger students, this may be for disciplinary reasons. But with adult students or young adult students, the L1 is often used in a large class to build a sense of classroom belonging, to develop and maintain rapport. And many teachers feel that this is easier to do in the L1 than in English and using English only. The other time when L1 is quite common, and again I think for quite good reasons, is at the beginning of a course. Students may have come the year before from a class with a teacher who used enormous amounts of L1, and switching from a class like that to a class which is English only or predominantly English can be very, very hard. So perhaps we need to move quite gently and gradually towards an English only situation if we're going to have one, but we may need to accept a little bit of L1 along the way. When it comes to the students, I've already said that most students express a preference for being allowed to use L1 in limited amounts in their classrooms. But it's also quite interesting and informative to look at what students actually do in the L1 when they're using it. And the student use of L1 falls, broadly speaking, into two functions. The first of these is concerned with the language study itself. They're using L1 to look at bilingual dictionaries or to check bilingual resources, or when they're working with a partner and they ask their partner to translate something or to compare a piece of grammar that they're studying with the grammar in their own language. And this study use of L1 is something which is supported by research. It can play a very positive role. The other use that students commonly make of L1 is perhaps quite an interesting one, because before, let's say that the students are going to be doing a speaking task. As a teacher, you'll often notice that there's quite a lot of chatter before they actually begin the task in their own language, in the shared language of the classroom. And what students are doing here is they're checking with each other that they've understood properly what it is they're supposed to be doing. This little bit of L1 chit-chat before the task begins can also help to motivate the students to do the task and to keep them both on task. So in a sense here, a little bit of L1 may well help the task go much more smoothly, much more productively, and we should again therefore think about tolerating it.